So is that kind of a bit of a long description of the difference between search query performance and product opportunity explorer and why it's important? And what do you think?
Yeah, I would say yes. Um, I think the primary difference to your point of search query performance being very specific to your brand's performance as well as to a very specific ASIN. So you're getting very deep into the data, and I think there's two distinct things that make Product Opportunity Explorer a little bit more zoomed out. Now, you still can get granular on a search term level, which I think we'll probably dive into here. But the thing with search query performance is you go in and you can either look at a overall brand level, so for your entire brand, or you can zoom in to an individual child ASIN. But those are your 2 points of diving in, which if you're a larger brand, brand view is probably way too zoomed out. You want to be able to look at a specific product. However, the way the data is presented and how granular it is on a search term level, which you can benchmark against your competition. It will say, like, what is your click share? What is your impression share of a particular search term, which is very helpful. But because you're zoomed into an individual ASIN level, and for context, we manage a lot of brands that have very large variation listings. So for, like, when I say brands, I'm talking about clothing brands, which, as you can imagine, if there's 100 different child ASINs on your particular listing, like zooming into a individual child ASIN level is, to be frank, not very helpful when it comes to the data. And also, you do have the ability, to your point, to look at different timelines. For example, if I wanted to look at this week versus last week, or I wanted to say this month versus last month, you do have the ability to pull out those insights to see, okay, is my share of these impressions growing? Is my click share growing? What is my data look like? Or, you could go and pull the data for each individual child ASIN and then roll that up and then also look at over time. My main pain point with Product Opportunity Explorer has always been how much manipulation and sort of massaging of the data I have to do to be able to pull out the insights that I would like to get from it. So don't get me wrong, the data inside of Search Query Performance Reports is insanely powerful because of how granular you can get with it. But that's also precisely why it's maybe not as user-friendly as we would like it to be, is because it's so granular and also segmented. Now, the thing with Product Opportunity Explorer, and for context, this tool was actually released by Amazon to allow sellers to do product research. They wanted them to have insights into the consumer trends. Because Amazon's entire goal is to provide the best selection of products at the most convenient price for shoppers. So their release of this is saying, hey, this is where we see consumer trends happening. This is where we see people searching. These are the things that they want to see in the products. And also, with this, they're providing insights on your competitors because they want to help you find where the market is underserved, which is phenomenal for sellers because we also are trying to understand what do consumers want and where is the market underserved, so we can provide that to the sellers, or to the shoppers, excuse me, because that's where we get better conversion rates and we get better sales volume when we kind of go after those things. So you definitely can use this for product research, but the other thing that you can do is use it to research the niches of your current products. And that's where kind of we've really started utilizing it, because we're not into the product research game, we're into the ad management game. So for us, like, you can literally go into Product Opportunity Explorer, you can search by a keyword or you can search by an ASIN. So you can go in today, you can enter in your ASIN here, and then you can sort of get an overview of one. It will give you all of the ASINs that Amazon says are in your niche, or the the different niches that they see your product in. And forgive me, it's been a hot minute since I dug into the sort of the metric glossary of this, but from my understanding, the way Amazon categorizes niches is very unique here and also provides an insane like deep understanding of the consumer behavior. So niches are actually different than categories. With a category, Amazon says like, okay, this is how we're going to categorize and subcategorize and make sense of this because we're looking at, you know, kind of groupings of attributes. The way niches are defined is Amazon actually looks at clusters of shopper searches and uses those clusters of shopper searches to define the niche. So they're not looking at just the products and the attributes, they're actually looking at consumer behavior and sort of shifting what they understand, you know, groupings of search terms or grouping of products to be. Again, based around, it's defined by the consumer behavior. And this is why it's so important because you can go in here and say, okay, what niches apply to my product? And then I can look at that grouping of consumer behavior and I can look at things like trends. And that's why I was saying search query performance is a little bit difficult to use because really pulling out that trend data is quite difficult. Here, Amazon actually allows you to click on a tab that says trends and you can view consumer behavior over time in your niche. So you can say, okay, this is my grouping of consumer behavior that I want to analyze because it applies to my product. And this is the piece of the market that I want to, you know, grow my brand in. What are the trends in terms of search volume? Again, first party data search volume for this entire grouping, which can be very insightful because oftentimes, say off season, we're looking at our sales decreases and freaking out and saying, okay, I need to push harder, but maybe my performance metrics or my profitability isn't where I want it to be. You can go and spot check here in the product opportunity explorer and say, okay, this is my niche. Let's go to the trends tab. What is the search volume? What is the purchase behavior over time of this particular niche? Oh, purchase behavior of consumers is actually down. It's probably a market trend. And that insight can be achieved within minutes versus having to go through, you know, search query performance and try and pull out all the data and aggregate it. So I find it very insightful as well as highly user friendly, which I really appreciate.